Imagine, just for a moment, that you are dropped into this massive, sprawling digital universe.
Right, like a huge open world.
Exactly. And millions of people are running around you, and almost every single one of them shares the exact same objective, right?
Which is usually to, get as powerful as possible.
Yeah, to level up, hoard as much wealth as humanly possible, and basically defeat these world-ending bosses at blinding speed.
Well, just speed is everything in those games.
It really is. The entire culture of this world is completely dominated by, like, hyper efficiency.
Yeah.
I mean, if you aren't doing the mathematically most optimal thing with every single click of your mouse, you're basically considered to be wasting time.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong, according to everyone else.
Right. But what if you logged into that environment and just decided to completely reject the premise?
Like, completely ignore the meta.
Yeah. What if you decided your only objective was to make sure the friends you brought with you never, ever felt left behind?
I mean, that is a complete subversion of what it means to actually, play the game.
Right.
You're stripping away the pursuit of personal glory, the flashy achievements, the leaderboards, and replacing all of that with basically a test of social endurance.
Which brings us to the mission of today's deep dive. We are unpacking a source document that's simply titled Bannock RuneScape Podcast.pdf.
And this is from April 21, 2026, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this file, it outlines the deeply personal, like almost philosophical notes of a player who goes by Bannock.
Anecdote.
And he plays a 20-year-old notoriously grind-heavy game called Old School RuneScape. But he plays a very specific mode called Group Ironman.
Group Ironman, right.
Yeah, and to give you some context, this mode is essentially you and a handful of friends stranded on a digital island together. Like, you cannot trade with anyone outside your small group.
So no grand markets or anything.
Nope. If your group needs a steel sword, someone has to physically mine the iron, dig the coal, smelt the bar, and hammer the blade.
It's all from scratch.
Yeah.
In that game mode, I mean, it is explicitly designed to demand teamwork.
Obviously, yeah.
But human nature being what it is, most groups just weaponize that teamwork to achieve peak efficiency even faster.
Right, they specialize.
Exactly. One person's assigned to be the dedicated potion maker, another is just locked in a digital mine for 2 weeks, all just to rush to the end game.
Like an assembly line.
Yeah, a total factory. But what makes Bannock's notes so compelling is that you don't actually need to know a single thing about RuneScape, or, well, video games at all, to extract really profound value from them.
Yeah, the game is just the medium.
Right. His entire framework is this accidental masterclass in servant leadership, community building, and, quite frankly, a total rejection of the modern hustle mindset.
I totally agree. Whether you are managing a corporate team or trying to build a neighborhood coalition, or you're just personally exhausted by the constant pressure to, optimize every waking second of your own life, Bannock provides this blueprint for a totally different kind of success.
He really does.
And he anchors his entire philosophy with this one guiding quote in his notes. He says, "It's not the end that makes us whole, it's the bonds we build."
Wow. And that quote, it completely sets the trajectory for his entire early game.
Yeah, how he starts out.
Right. When Bannock and his friends start fresh, with level 1 characters in basic clothes, his immediate thought isn't about how to exploit the game's mechanics to get powerful.
Right, no speedrunning strategies.
Exactly. He structures his initial phases around a deeply human question, which is, how do I make this digital world feel like a home for these specific people?
Which is wild, right? And the methods he uses to answer that question are genuinely baffling if you understand the mechanics of these types of games.
Oh, completely backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He immediately focuses almost all of his energy on the construction skill.
Right.
And in this game, construction allows you to build a player-owned house. But here's the catch. It is notoriously expensive and incredibly slow to train early on.
It's a massive gold
Yep.
sink.
It's a huge resource sink. Yet Bannock is out there spending hours just manually chopping down trees, turning them into planks, and hammering together basic wooden chairs and tables.
Just endless clicking.
Yeah. And he isn't doing this to unlock some powerful combat advantage. He's draining his own resources just so the group has a physical instance location in the game world to actually stand in.
He wants a living room?
Exactly. He wants someone to be able to say over the voice chat, hey, let's meet up at Bannock's place.
He's artificially creating a town square.
Yeah.
In a game that spans these huge continents, having a shared address provides a real psychological anchor.
It grounds them.
It does. It's tangible proof that they exist as a unit in this space. And once that house is established, Bannock transitions into acting as the group's dedicated supplier.
The guy behind the scenes.
Exactly. He is the one staying up late, chopping wood so his friends have bows. He's standing by the river fishing for hours just so his team has enough food to survive their own adventures. He entirely abandons the role of the protagonist.
Okay, let's unpack this because I really have to push back on this approach. It brings up a very real psychological friction point.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, people play video games to escape their chores, right? Not to take on new ones.
That's a fair point.
In an environment that's designed entirely around personal progression where your literal worth to other players is often judged by your combat level, and the shiny armor you're wearing, spending your precious leisure time acting as a digital lumberjack seems almost, I don't know, pathological.
Oh, right. It seems like a punishment.
Yeah. Why pay a monthly subscription fee just to be the group's janitor? It feels like you are completely sacrificing your own growth.
Well, that reaction makes total sense, especially through the lens of a culture that measures success by individual metrics.
Right.
But Bannock is operating on a totally different axis here. He is reframing growth from vertical to horizontal.
Horizontal growth.
Yeah. Instead of building a towering skyscraper with his own name and lights at the top, he's pouring a massive, wide concrete foundation.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
In the text, he writes, "I can be strong with everyone."
Wow.
The entire survival of his little digital society relies on this first one in, last one out mentality. He recognizes that if he rushes ahead to become the strongest player in the room, the inevitable side effect is that his friends will feel weak, they'll feel useless, and eventually they will just stop logging in.
And that horizontal approach dictates absolutely everything, even digital geography.
Oh, the map, yeah.
When it comes time to choose which regions of the massive game map the group should focus their early efforts on, Bannock completely ignores the spreadsheets.
Right, he doesn't care about the meta.
Not at all. A normal player looks at a map and calculates, okay, which zone yields the highest experience points per hour. But Bannock looks at the map and asks, where would a community actually want to live?
It's essentially emotional urban planning.
Yes.
He directs the group to start in regions like Lumbridge and Verrock, which are the game's starting towns. They aren't glamorous at all, but they are familiar, safe, and really grounding for players who might be overwhelmed.
It's comforting.
Exactly. Then he targets the Fremennik province. Now, from a purely mathematical standpoint, the rewards there aren't the best for early players.
No, it's pretty inefficient.
But narratively, that region is all about Viking-like clans, proving your worth to a tribe, and earning a spot in the mead hall.
It's about culture.
Right, it offers a sense of culture and belonging. And finally, he looks toward a massive region called Kurend, specifically because it offers long-term infrastructure, like farming guilds and transportation networks. He's planning a civilization, not a leveling route.
It requires such a fundamental shift in perspective. But let's look at the dark side of these massive online experiences, which is burnout.
Oh, it's huge.
It really is. In the second section of his notes, Bannock addresses the pacing of the game. And the reality of MMOs is that they are designed to be highly addictive.
They absolutely are.
You have average players logging 10, 12, 14 hours a day, sacrificing sleep and real-world relationships, just sprinting toward the endgame. But Bannock institutes a hard, uncompromising rule for himself.
Which is wild to see in this space.
2 to 3 hours a day, maximum.
Wow.
That's roughly 15 to 20 hours a week.
And the justification he writes down for that is really striking. He says, "I'd rather finish slow and together than fast and alone."
I love that.
Yeah, by enforcing that strict boundary, he is actively protecting the system from its own momentum.
And he is incredibly deliberate with those 2 or 3 hours. The notes actually detail his session breakdown.
Oh, right, the schedule.
Yeah, 1 hour dedicated purely to resource gathering, 1 hour for infrastructure, so building the house, organizing the group's shared bank so nobody has to blindly search for an item.
Which is a huge time saver for everyone else.
Huge. And then 30 to 60 minutes strictly reserved for socializing, coordinating plans, or just doing light, low-stress quests together.
Just hanging out.
Exactly. And because he limits his time and splits his focus away from pure progression, his timeline to reach what players call the mid-game stretches to anywhere from 80 to 120 hours.
It's a long time.
For context, the document points out that a player focused on efficiency will hit that exact same milestone in about 40 to 70 hours.
So he is intentionally operating at half speed.
Pretty much.
And for anyone accustomed to the modern work environment or, the hustle economy, watching someone willingly take twice as long to reach a goal is deeply, deeply uncomfortable.
It feels wrong. But Bannock anticipates that discomfort. He includes this brilliant car analogy in his notes.
Oh, I loved this part.
It's so good. He observes that most players approach the game by just slamming their foot on the gas pedal. They want to get from point A to point B as violently fast as possible.
Right, max RPMs.
The engine is screaming, the transmission is slipping, and they're basically praying the car doesn't explode before they cross the finish line.
Just holding on for dear life.
Yeah. But Bannock views his role as the mechanic and the host. He's tuning the engine, he's checking the tire pressure, he's making sure the playlist is good, and everyone in the back seat has snacks.
Right.
It's the difference between treating the experience like a tense Formula One qualifying lap versus a scenic cross-country road trip with your best friends.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Bannock is consciously trading statistical speed for system stability.
System stability.
Exactly. The system in this case being the mental health and enthusiasm of the actual human beings playing the game.
Yes.
The hyper-efficient player might reach the destination first, sure, but their car is trailing smoke, the tires are completely bald, and half the passengers quietly bailed out 3 towns back because the ride was utterly miserable.
They just couldn't take it anymore.
Right. Bannock ensures that if he needs to take his hands off the wheel for a few days, say, if real life gets busy, the vehicle just keeps cruising safely down the highway.
And that concept of taking your hands off the wheel is crucial because eventually all of this foundational work has to pay off, right?
It has to, yeah.
There has to be a tipping point where Bannock isn't just endlessly chopping logs to keep everyone afloat. And according to the notes, that tipping point is exactly how he defines the mid-game.
Right.
It isn't triggered by someone finding a powerful weapon or hitting a specific combat level.
No, the transition to the mid-game happens the exact moment the group dynamic shifts from rescuing to sustaining.
Rescuing to sustaining.
Yeah, it basically begins when the panic stops.
And the milestones he sets for this are so grounded in reality. It happens when their house hits level 50, meaning it actually has useful teleportation portals and tools.
Real utility.
Yeah. It happens when they finally have sustainable pipelines for food and armor, so nobody is logging in and realizing, oh no, I'm starving, I'm broke.
Right, the basics are covered.
Exactly. But the most fascinating metric he tracks is their group bank account. He waits until they've accumulated their first 500K to 1 million in gold.
Which is a solid cushion.
It is. But he emphasizes that this wealth has to come from honest, steady labor like fishing or fletching bows, not from exploiting the game's economy or flipping items on the market.
Right, and that stockpile of wealth functions exactly like a startup company finally securing enough runway in the bank.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
It represents the total elimination of existential stress. The founders, or in this case, the players, they no longer have to panic about making payroll or replacing broken gear.
They have room to breathe.
Exactly. And this is the phase where Bannock implements automated systems, specifically the Kingdom of Miscellanea.
The Kingdom of Miscellanea is such a clever mechanic in this game.
It really is.
It's essentially a mini-game where your character becomes the regent of an island. You deposit money into the coffers, and the citizens passively gather resources for you. Coal, herbs, hardwood, while you're completely offline.
Just working in the background.
Yeah. Bannock calls this his dream system because, as he writes, we built something that works even when we rest.
That's powerful. And alongside these passive systems, his approach to active gameplay completely transforms too.
How so?
Take the game's quests, for example. RuneScape has literally hundreds of quests, and most players only complete the ones that unlock the strongest gloves or the best sword, right?
Right, purely for the rewards.
Exactly. But Bannock targets what he calls identity quests. He leads the group to do the Fremennik trials, cementing their status in that Viking clan. They tackle a quest called animal magnetism.
Oh, animal magnetism is a perfect example of his mindset.
Yeah, tell them about that one.
So the reward for that quest is a mechanical backpack that automatically picks up your fired arrows. If you are the dedicated archery player in the group, it's absolutely mandatory.
You have to have it.
You have to. But instead of letting that player suffer through the complex puzzle alone, Bannock ensures they do it together.
Wow.
They share the frustration of the puzzle so their friend can get the upgrade. They do the druidic ritual quest not for glory, but simply so the team has the collective knowledge to mix their own healing potions.
It's all about the group. And we see that exact same communal philosophy applied to how they train their skills.
Oh, yeah?
The game is normally full of solitary grinds.
Yeah.
For instance, normally cutting down trees is highly competitive, If you chop the tree, it falls down, and I get nothing.
Which breeds so much resentment.
It really does. But Bannock directs the group toward a newer mechanic called forestry, which actually provides experience bonuses when multiple players chop the exact same tree.
Oh, so it incentivizes teamwork.
Yes, it turns a lonely, competitive grind into a shared campfire experience.
He does the same thing with fishing, actually. He takes the group to a mini game called Temperos.
Right, the sea spirit.
Yeah, instead of standing silently on a dock for hours, you work as a team to fight a massive sea spirit by loading cannons with enchanted fish. It requires constant communication.
It's dynamic.
Very. But what really underscores Bannock's dedication to this servant leadership model is his stance on combat. In a fantasy game where slaying dragons is basically the main selling point, Bannock intentionally delays leveling up his combat stats.
Yeah, there is a skill in the game called Slayer, which literally involves an NPC assigning you a quota of specific monsters to hunt down, entirely on your own.
Very isolating.
It is the definition of an isolating activity. And Bannock just refuses to engage with it until the group is completely stabilized.
Wow.
He waits until every single person has a full stomach, solid armor, and a functioning base before he even considers sharpening his own sword.
That level of patience is staggering.
It really is.
But once the food is stocked and the base is humming along, a profound shift in leadership has to occur, right? I mean, if you spend the first 100 hours acting as the engine that pulls the train, what happens to your identity when the train finally has its own momentum?
And this is where Bannock evolves from a manager into a true leader.
Ah, right.
The early game required a mentality of basically carrying everyone,
Yeah.
but the mid-game requires delegation.
Okay.
He moves from carrying them to walking beside them. Because the wealth and supply pipelines are now functioning in the background, he stops micromanaging the daily chores.
He steps back.
Yeah, instead, he focuses on connecting those systems together and trusting his friends to pull their own weight. He describes his new role beautifully in the notes. He says he is not the strongest, but the one who holds the map.
The one who holds the map. I mean, that requires an incredible amount of ego suppression.
Well, totally.
You have to be entirely comfortable letting your friends out-level you, out-damage you, and get all the killing blows while you just point the way.
Most people can't do that.
They really can't. And that brings us to the final act of his notes, the true endgame.
The end game.
Reaching this stage takes anywhere from 200 to over 400 hours of gameplay. Yet again, Bannock's definition of reaching the finish line looks absolutely nothing like the rest of the player base.
Not even close. Looking at his target statistics for the endgame, they're honestly incredibly modest for someone who has invested hundreds of hours.
Very modest.
Out of a maximum level of 99 in each category, his combat stats sit comfortably around 80 or 90. He has no desire to maximize his damage output at all.
He just wants to be useful.
Right, he just wants to be competent and reliable if the group needs him in a tough fight.
And the only skills he actually pushes to the maximum level of 99 are what he refers to as service-oriented skills.
Right, the support skills.
Yeah. He masters construction, which gives them the ultimate fully upgraded house, which is this massive symbol of permanence and hospitality. And he masters fishing, crafting, and fletching.
He's making the gear.
Yeah. He isn't grinding these out so he can wear a prestigious cape and show off. He does it because a level 99 crafter can make the best jewelry to protect the team.
His detachment from personal glory is just most evident when you read through his favorite memories from the game.
Oh, the memory section is so good.
Players usually brag about perfectly executing a complex boss fight or securing an item worth hundreds of millions of gold.
But Bannock's memories are entirely different. There's this mid-game dungeon called Barrows, which is essentially a terrifying gauntlet where you fight the ghosts of 6 ancient brothers.
It's really iconic.
It is, and players usually farm it super efficiently for the ultra-rare armor drops, but Bannock's favorite memory is taking his group in there when they were severely undergeared and absolutely terrified.
Scrambling.
Totally. They were burning through food, someone was literally screaming in panic over the voice chat, and they barely survived to get their first unique item drop.
Wow.
And the kicker is, he doesn't even mention what the item was or its gold value. He just treasures the shared adrenaline and the laughter that followed.
He highlights these quiet, atmospheric moments instead. He writes affectionately about lead under starlight.
Oh, I loved that phrase.
Yeah, it refers to these late-night sessions where the group was just fishing together in the dark, barely talking, just comfortably existing in the same digital space.
It's so peaceful.
And his proudest gear upgrade wasn't equipping a massive sword himself. It was crafting a high-level ranged weapon, handing it to a teammate, and just listening to them react with pure joy.
Even his desires for the game's rarest cosmetic items reflect this grounded
It's
nature.
the pets, right?
Yeah, the pets. The game offers these incredibly rare pets that follow your character around just to show off your achievements, like miniature dragons or glowing elemental monsters.
Big status symbols.
Massive status symbols. But Bannock doesn't want any of those. He notes that he hopes to randomly get a heron from fishing or a beaver from chopping wood.
Just the basic workers.
Exactly. He likes them because they represent quiet, steady, blue-collar consistency. But he follows that up by stating that if the algorithms never reward him with a pet, he really isn't bothered.
Because he already has what he wants.
Right. His real companions, the people who actually stayed, who didn't burn out, who keep logging in week after week, are the only followers he actually cares about.
The contrast between Bannock's endgame and the average player's endgame is just stark. I mean, most players finish their thousands of hours standing at the Grand Exchange.
And for context, the Grand Exchange is the game's massive central auction house. It's basically like Wall Street.
It's exactly like Wall Street. It is the place where hundreds of players stand shoulder to shoulder in absolute silence, staring at financial menus, wearing capes that prove they maxed out every possible statistic entirely on their own.
It sounds kind of bleak.
It is an impressive display of dedication, sure, but it is profoundly lonely. Bannock's journey ends in his player-owned house.
Right.
It is full of his friends. The storage chests are completely stocked. There is constant chatter in the voice channel, and he has engineered a micro-society that functions securely even if he decides to turn off his computer.
So what does this all mean? Going back to that car analogy, it's like the car is now turned into a convoy, and eventually it became a city.
Yeah, settlement.
Bannock isn't driving anymore. He's just walking the streets, making sure the lights stay on. His house literally became the hub. It was the place they teleported to before a boss fight, the place they returned to after a victory. It became the physical, well, digital manifestation of the idea. We built something that lasts.
And translating this out of the digital realm and into our daily lives, the application is just massive.
It really is.
We exist in an ecosystem that is completely obsessed with optimization. We have endless apps, life hacks, and gurus constantly pressuring us to optimize our careers, our fitness routines, and increasingly, even our hobbies.
It's exhausting.
We are told to treat our lives like that screaming race car.
But Bannock's philosophy is a radical intervention. It reminds us that sometimes the absolute most optimal thing you can do is hit the brakes, stop looking at the scoreboard, and just check on the people sitting in the passenger seats.
Yeah.
True leadership isn't about crossing the finish line first. It's about ensuring that the people you care about actually make it there with you, with their sanity intact.
That is the perfect distillation of everything he built. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, consider this final thought. Every digital world, every massive online game eventually faces the exact same fate, right? The servers are permanently shut down.
It's inevitable. It is. The data is wiped. The high scores, the billions in digital gold, the rare armor, all of it vanishes into the ether. And if the only thing you spent your time building was a solitary empire of personal achievements, you are ultimately left with absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
But the human connections, the late nights laughing over a shared struggle, the patience you showed a friend who was falling behind, the trust you built by putting the group first, those bonds outlive the servers.
They absolutely do.
So whether you are building a digital guild, a corporate department, or a local community when the systems eventually power down, what exactly are you leaving with? Are you just grinding for a high score, or are you building a world that outlasts your own achievements?
A great question to end on.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. See you next time.